Hey everybody, welcome to Generation 10. I'm one of your hosts, Dino the Genetic Marvel, and we've been talking about how we all have back pain. And it's fantastic, and if anything, it brings us together as a community. Who else is here?
I'm Atlas Novak. I'm your millennial, and I'm pretty sure the only guy who doesn't have back pain is not here. He's at Disney World. Caleb's not here. But our guest today, you may remember her from pretty early in season 1. It's my good friend and Vanguard YouTuber, OuterOrange, everybody.
Hello, that is me. I'm back after I think it's been like a couple months, 4 or 5 months maybe. I don't know. It's been some time, but yeah, I'm here. Hello, I'm the peel, the orange peel.
It's fantastic. Welcome.
And your intro is part of my nightmares, as I've said.
You're not alone. Everyone keeps saying that. They're like, literally, I will be in a voice call, and I'm like, just randomly doing something or playing a game, and someone will literally go into the voice call and be like, "Outer Orange," and I'm like, "Just gracious, can you just stop? Can you just for 2 seconds just?"
I don't know if it's part of their sleep paralysis demons things that it spouts.
So many people, dude. Even we have a really famous guy like within our community called Different Fight. Even he does it. He would be like, I'll join like his streams, and he'll just be like, "Outer Orange," and I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Oh no, that happens with Nexus at Night stuff. Where we have a running gag, Dino, where when we get off topic, we'll say Nexus at Night, the whatever we're talking about podcast, because we veer off on a tangent. So it's been a thing where I've met somebody and they go, Nexus at Night, the Shaking Atlas's Hand podcast, or whatever.
Fantastic.
We're talking about travel, kind of, because I just went to Minnesota for a comedy festival. Orange has been going to regionals. And travel is a lot different than it was pre-pandemic.
Really?
In the more like how people perceive it and behave.
What have you been doing?
I'll explain later. But first, we have some questions.
I've had pretty normal travels.
We have some questions for you. The first one is, what's an embarrassing song from your playlist?
Yeah. Wait, how do we go from travel? Okay, you know what? We went from travel to embarrassing song, but sure, let's work with it. So it took me a while to kind of think on this. I don't really consider any music I listen to really embarrassing, but I thought back and I was like, there is one song that might be considered embarrassing. And I don't know if either of you guys will know this song, but do you guys know who Miranda Cosgrove is?
From iCarly?
Yes.
Yes. So she's the little sister from Drake and Josh. And she's also from iCarly, and she's the star of that. Do you guys also know that she has songs?
No.
Does she have songs like the Friday Girl? Like that, like you're like, this is a weird cult type song or something?
I don't know. She released this one album that was just like literally like kind of like what, so her main songs, there's a song on there called Headphones On. And I remember like back in back when iCarly first aired, I would listen to it. And to this day, I actually still listen to that song. So, and I don't think anyone even knows the song exists or anything. It's just like, she's just like, da, 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 da. It literally goes, I'm going to school with my headphones on and something, and I don't care. Like, it's just like this really random song. And I related to it because I was like, man, I'm going also somewhere with my headphones on, and I also don't care because it's perfect.
You're basically Miranda Cosgrove. Yeah. You're basically the same people. That's fair.
Wait till you guys are my two brothers now, and just FYI, I may do something to mess around with your mic a little bit, and I'm actually just secretly just a little demon, so just be wary of me.
I have a sister. That checks out. That's fair.
I too have a sister. Yeah.
Look at that! Look at that!
There you go. Yeah.
I have a sister.
I would just love to see just like a compilation of you listening to songs and relating to them with that phrase. Like, I too have taken the money and run.
Yeah, that was me as well. Oh.
I too do dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
I also blackmailed that movie. That was me.
Yeah.
That's fair. I feel like you could find, I think that should be everyone's goal, is listening to every song and finding a portion where you're like, hey, you know what? Me and that guy, we're the same because of XYZ. Yeah. And nothing cool. It should be like, we both open our Pepsi can like this. This is not a thing, but...
I also like my beers and my pongs. My name is Post Malone.
My mind is also not for rent, but don't put me down as arrogant.
Oh, this is getting much worse.
All we're gonna say is right.
Take this so far. There's a lot of songs out there. And they have
know
a lot of titles.
This is the thing: is there certain humor that will always be funny, but at the same time, it's like, especially puns. Oh, I'm like, no, I don't want to laugh. I don't want. No, it doesn't deserve my laughter.
Puns
My
make
name is a
Dino
pun.
mad.
Oh yeah, I do a few other shows, and there's a couple of comedians that have started to do like very clean comic, but it's like very dad humor, puns and stuff, and I'm like, I hate you so much, because it's just especially if they are funny too, and I'm like, oh,
Don't laugh. Ha,
Yeah,
that wasn't
very
me.
difficult. And my wife, she loves puns, and I'm like, you're the worst person I know. Just,
If you ever have kids, you're gonna be the worst dad. It's just gonna be like other dads making dad jokes, and you're just like, I'm not like you.
yeah,
Just
no,
dad's a dad
definitely,
joke.
yeah. It's like that's the fair thing, that I will make fun of the other dads, absolutely, like to no end, and they're like, "Well, I'm just a dad," and I'm like, "No, you're a disgrace to your household, Paul." Like, I can't.
Yeah, Paul, go back to mowing your lawn, Paul.
Yeah. Try and keep it in one line, there, buddy. Do your trimming, dork. Like, it's just not. I feel like there's a lot of people have forgotten what it's like to be like, glory to your household. You're like, that's a badass thing to say. It's just people. You're like,
That also usually comes with a sword through somebody's chest, and I don't think PTA meetings are run like that anymore.
I don't think you've been to a PTA meeting in a while, sir, because it is the Thunderdome out there.
Is that the parent teacher conference? Is that what we're
okay? We're back to acronyms.
Which one is this? Which acronym is this?
I think it's Parent Teacher Association.
Parent Teachers Association.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
for us, at least up north, I'm pretty sure it was called I think it was PTA, but we just call it a parent teacher conference, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So also too, if you ever really want to feel good about where you're at in life, go online and look at HOA, Homeowners Association horror stories.
Those.
Yeah. Oh, you feel so good at the end. You're like, I'm a good person. You're like, these people need to. They need a better COVID out there to kill them. Like that.
Oh my gosh!
Because it's all boomers who have nothing better to do, so they just terrorize people who you can't have your mailbox that close to the curb or whatever.
Oh, but that's the thing is it's not only the boomer entitlement, it's the Karen vindictiveness and just disgusting amount of envy. You know how like I'm jealous. Like you went to another place to do a comedy show. I'm like, I'm jealous of you that you've started to travel for comedy, right? But I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to wait it out. Like I've already started to do some things here and there, but I'm willing to wait. But I'm like, I'm not gonna be mad about it. That's ridiculous, right? That's I only wish that I could partake. So whereas these people, they're like, no, we hate you because you have it. You're like, that's insane.
Wait, why can't you go out of town? I mean, I don't know if it's too personal.
I live with old people too.
Oh, okay.
So it's more so that we just don't want to worry about like realistically. Listen, I'm not like I do hate everyone, but at the same time, I remember spitting in each other's mouths. It was a great time we used to have back in the pre-pandemic. You could just spit on people right in their face, and they're like, another, and that was
definitely what 2019 was like. That's exactly.
That was definitely.
I just remember walking around and just spit everywhere.
Hawking a loogie up, catching it in your mouth. Yeah. Just.
I will say concerts were like that. I do. Concerts are the definition of. Did you get spat on today? No. Okay, try again. You didn't go to a concert.
Or spitting on today. Yeah.
And concerts too. Like, hey, I miss getting groped every once in a while. I'm like, it was fun. It made me feel important. I just.
I used to live with my grandma. I understand. I couldn't do anything for a while. I don't live with my grandma anymore, but I did for pretty much a good majority of COVID, which kind of sucked because I also had my outdoor job. Like I literally was
Mm.
not home every single day, so it kind of defeated the purpose. And not intentionally.
Yeah.
I worked at a supermarket. Kind of didn't have a choice.
Yeah. That's it. And see, like, it's that kind of stuff where you're going, like, you just try and make the best of it. Like, at the same time, I'm also very lazy. So I'm like, oh, an excuse to stay home? I'm in. Like, let's do this.
Like, excuse to be here around my books and
Yeah.
games and the internet. Oh man, Whew, can't travel. Oh darn.
Listen, speaking of books, my dad, when we were, so I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and for my one brother who's close to me in age, the rest are all a lot older. He was actually quite intelligent, so my dad was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you some encyclopedias and stuff because this is before the internet, right?"
Mhm.
So he got all these, the Encyclopedia Britannica and these great books, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try and read them. So I brought them all to my house from my mom's house, and I'm looking through some of the stories and the books that are in part of it, and I'm going, oh, I think I've bitten off more than I can chew. I don't think I'm gonna enjoy this anymore. I'm like, maybe I'll read a couple. I'll give it a try and just flip through, just peruse it. That's like I don't want to go back to doing things regularly. No, thinking's too hard. It's ridiculous.
I agree. I'm kind of happy to be able to stay at home. I'm pretty look lucky, I guess, because my job is at home now and stuff like that. So I really don't have a reason. It's kind of weird. Like I don't have a reason to go out, and I'm kind of happy I don't get to go out. But then there are days where I'm like, man, I've been home all day. I kind of want to socialize, but I'm too lazy.
Oh yeah, I get that. We went out for dinner for the first time last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Friday night, and it was. We also went to a hot pot restaurant. It was like we went early, so there wasn't a lot of people. We all had our own pot. It was okay. The food was really good, and everything was cool. But at the same time, like we got out and we are like, okay, it was good. It was good. Everything was fine. Everything's fine. Nobody was destroyed. Like it was a lot for a first time. It was.
That's crazy. Not like a weird way. It's just I guess because I've been around it since literally the start of COVID. Like to me, it's just normal. Not like it's normal to go outside and talk to people, potentially get COVID, but more like I guess because like literally since the start of COVID, I have never actually left the outdoor scene. So to me, it's just like when things started kind of going back to normal. Like I feel like I was already doing that, and plus I don't know about y'all state and stuff like that, but over here, everything got lifted pretty much like 3 months in. Like people will be like, there was quote unquote like rules, but no one was following them.
Bastard.
No one was following them. It's like literally people were in pools. Like people were in pools with kids in the summer of 2020. By the way, so between June and September, people were literally bathing because we have like a bunch of communities around here. You literally drive by and you see people swimming in the community pools with a ton of kids and all that stuff, and you're just thinking to yourself like, yeah, COVID. Definitely a thing.
I feel like you're waving around a giant wiener that is your mental health. You're like, oh no, I haven't been stuck in anywhere, and my life is fantastic.
Yeah,
you guys are all weirdos. So I'm in Canada. Trust me, it's weird up here.
It kind of happened where I am because I'm in California. They were pretty stringent about it, but I was working in a doctor's office, so we still had to go to work and be in the thick of it.
Yep.
Like the mask stuff was like really like solid. Like don't take off your mask if you're eating. Go the fuck over there. That kind of thing. But at the same time, I got my vaccine super early. We came in one day and they're like, "All right, you're going to Cedars, big hospital in Los Angeles, and you're getting your shot. And then 2 weeks you're going back and doing it again." So they were like, if you don't like it, then we have to like put you on leave. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm getting paid to go get the COVID shot. Sign me up. Like drove down there and I was like, yeah, right in my veins. Do it. And they're like, calm down.
Give me the needle.
Can I get an extra one? Yeah. Give me an extra one. Do you have the Johnson & Johnson too as like a chaser?
I just hate that your thing was basically a smoothie stamp card, right? Where I'm just like, so do I get a razzmatazz after the third one? What's the
Play your cards, or they'll give you a tour of the back too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
You get like a little free one after so many shots. You got on your 10th shot, you get a free shot.
You know what?
Get a
That's a
free
funny
bagel at the
joke,
end.
but it's
Yeah.
kind of happening too. So like,
Yeah.
I mean,
somebody's like, I got my 7th booster, and you're like, hey, I don't think you're
You're
supposed
like,
to have that many. That's
Didn't
not
Taco
healthy.
Bell or something, or Krispy Kreme, one of those, like if you bring in your filled out Vax card, we'll give you a free donut or something, or
yeah.
like
Is that really a thing?
I'm pretty sure that happened.
Oh my god, I
They
gotta
did-
start walking around my Vax card more.
They did it in certain
Oh.
states. So certain states were like, we ain't vaccinating nothing. Like they were losing their minds, right? So
Mhm.
they've been leaving these incentives. Like one of them was you could get there was a cash incentive in one state. One was giving away like guns and stuff. Like it was like, yeah.
Okay, so
I
from
want a-
August
I want a
25th,
gun.
2021, earlier this week, back in March, Krispy Kreme announced a generous incentive for getting vaccinated. One free original glazed donut every single day if you show your Vax card, no purchase necessary.
How many
Single day.
How many original glazed donuts have you eaten in one sitting?
In general, or
Just one sitting, like just a one time.
4, I think. It was. I'm not really much of a donut guy. I'm more of a bagel guy.
I think as a kid, my mom bought like a thing of donuts, and
Mhm.
back then I kind of really liked food. I still like food, but I think I ate the entire thing of donuts. So I think it's like 6.
Wow, 6 or 12.
I had an addiction for donuts at some point. I think it was so bad to the point where I actually can't eat donuts anymore now.
See, that's becoming an adult, and good for you. That's very, very commendable. You and your mental health of enjoyment and luxurious outdoors activities is fine.
Yeah, maybe eating too many donuts makes you stop eating donuts.
Maybe.
I don't listen to that kind of crazy conspiracy theory talk. Sorry.
It works for me. Here I am, alive and
I am happy in the skin I'm in. No.
Perfect segue, though.
Oh yeah.
The next question is, what's something you like to do because you're an adult and no one can stop you?
Actually, I don't. What do I do? I guess. I don't know. Video games? Like I really don't know. I don't know if there's something I do that it would be weird or.
Most people answer drugs.
Oh no!
That's
no, I can't.
To put that in perspective.
I can't. I see that I can't see. No, I'm not a very. I don't have a very strong body for that. No drugs here. I think probably just. I don't know. I only recently kind of officially became an adult. I'm still kind of figuring out the whole adult thing. Like I'm kind of existing every day, doing my own thing, working, doing my side hobbies and stuff like that, and then I just kind of put it on rinse and repeat every day. So I don't know what classifies as what I do because I'm an adult. Because the real answer is like I think I need a kid for that or something. Because then I could lie to my kid and be like, yeah, if you don't read the book, like your nails are gonna fall off, and that would be something an adult would do.
Maybe. I mean,
but otherwise, I really
but no, you shouldn't do that. That's
that's what you, as a kid, that's what you go through. Like, oh, the adult told me. Like my mom when I was a kid told me if I bite my nails, I would get an infection and the world would end because my fingers would fall off. So I just didn't bite my nails.
That's factually true. 100% accurate.
See, that's something an adult would do, right? So, like, you have to think from a kid perspective.
See, I wonder about that because, like, at the same time, I definitely did that to young people, and I've definitely done that. I've definitely done that to Americans when I've traveled, and other people who ask weird questions like, "Oh, do you guys ever like go into igloos?" And I'm like, "All the time, yeah, all year round, absolutely." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "You're an idiot. Of course not."
Well, they're just setting themselves up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
At least, or when I was a kid, I was told that if I picked my nose too much, I would get brain damage.
Accurate, 100% true.
Which I realized, like the thing that made me stop was I gave myself a nosebleed one time. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh gosh,
yeah.
That sounds painful. Yeah. I think one time this is a really random story, and I still don't know to this day why I remembered this, but I think I was like 3 or 4 years old, and my granny took me. I lived in New York, so a lot of walking. We went into this one store, and granny kind of left me, did her thing, and I was standing in front of the window, and I was just like picking my nose. because I don't know, I was 3 years old.
Because you're 3 years old, yeah.
Yeah, right? And then this lady walks by, and she gave me the most disgusting face on the planet. Like, I've never seen... to this day, I remember this, because I remember I was just like... Beep, 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 beep. And she's like... and I'm like... Oh, beep, 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 beep. And I like take out my finger, and I'm like... And my granny Winsley runs by. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like... I'm just like hallucinating, like crying. She's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I don't want to tell her I was picking my nose, and this lady looked at me funny, so I was like, "I don't know, it hurts." That's all I said. That was just the end of that.
It's at that point you say you weren't caught red-handed, you were caught gold-fingered.
There it is. Yeah.
But I think that stopped me nose picking. That face is like mentally and
burned
like,
in
just
your memory.
like just like scarred. Like on my brain, there's just that face just there, just forever. That face when I was 3 years. I still to this day remember it. I'm a 28-year-old human being, and I remember this for some reason. No more nose picking. No.
I got caught like that while I was driving. Full bore. Someone looked at me and like, "Oh!" I was just like, "Oh."
I pick my nose when I drive a lot, to be fair.
I think every guy does.
Yeah.
I personally love hand sanitizer. And I'm like, listen, because I will go to town while I'm driving and just shoot it out in somebody else's car. God. Listen, I used to tell a joke, and then I realized that it's kind of terroristic in the way I tell it, because I'm like, there's the best way to get back at people on public transit is to flick a booger at the back of their knee, because it'll stay, and it'll just and they'll walk away with it.
Ew.
And people were like, "Oh, you're a monster." I'm like, yes, I am.
That is very good aim. I don't have that kind of accuracy. If it's something big, like their backpack or their back or the side of the car, yeah. But like getting the back of their knee, that's a very small target. That's some Luke Skywalker shit.
I would like high five them while the booger in hand, just straight in.
Booger on the door handle.
Yeah, just like put it like right here, just like high five them where it like attaches to them, and just call it a day.
Orange knows what's up.
I mean, if you really hate a person, I mean, giving them a boogie that'd be pretty funny. They like come home with the booger, they're like, "Was this me, or do my boogers look like this? Is this normal?"
Okay, seriously, that is evil. If you can nail somebody and then have them walk away with it, you're like, well, you know what? That's yours now. So
you are gonna have
just want to get out of my
time
system.
Doing the highlights for this episode.
I think the worst part about it is like we're over here talking about COVID. Like, yeah, COVID is so bad for you, as we're also talking about putting boogers on people.
Well, you kind of realize, like, I remember, like, my wife actually had the H1N1.
Oh.
Really?
And yeah, and the funny thing is, so it wasn't really bad for her, and I had seen her, but I came to work and I said, "Hey, listen," I went to my boss and I was like, "Listen, my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, she just got positive results for H1N1. So my boss takes one step back and goes, "So, pack up your stuff, just go home. 7 days. That's it." I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, 7 days, just go home. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And you know what? I was like, "Why are you being weird about this?" She's like, "Listen, just in case." She goes, "Call me. If you start to develop any symptoms, you have to call me. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, 7 days, stay home." Okay, fine. No questions asked. Like, it was immediate. They're like, "Don't worry about anything." Mm-hmm. And now where everything, like, now we see what happens when you're like, "Hey, I talked to somebody and they talked to somebody and we all spit in each other's mouths, maybe licked a little eyeball, maybe touched eyeballs to each other, like the classic pre-pandemic greeting."
It's called a butterfly kiss. Okay. It has a term.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Actually, the term.
Butterfly kiss.
I thought but I meant like eyeball to eyeball, where you'd be like, "Oh."
Okay, I think that would just be like a what is it called? A centipede.
They're Satanists. There's some sort of anarchist group that greets
a rapid fluttering of one's eyelashes anywhere that tickles another person's skin. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called a butterfly kiss.
I've never heard that before.
The fact that I know this is kind of weird. I don't know how I know this. Don't ask me.
Well, yeah.
Maybe the lady who saw you picking your nose was like, "Yeah." A butterfly kiss is when you flutter your eyelashes on someone. Stop it in your nose. Bye. Like,
and now you know. Yeah.
now you know.
Ding, ding, ding. Like, yeah, that's fine. Your mind is blown. That's
I know. It's a new world.
Who needs drugs when you have boogers? And that's what being an adult is all about.
I think we went full circle. Boogers are good for you.
Episode title right there.
Pick a boar. Pick your boogers, people. It's definitely good for you.
Actually, I think it is.
It's good for you and for the people around you.
I looked it up one time. I don't think picking your boogers is good for you.
Well, no, because like
self-satisfaction, not like health-wise.
Not so much that it's good for your immune system because it's like dead or dying viruses. Like I pick my nose a lot as a kid, and I only get sick about once a year, if that.
But then doesn't it open up your nostrils more? It's for stuff to
that's a wives' tale.
Yeah, no, like literally, it's for the most part good for your immune system.
My wife does make fun of me. My wife makes fun of me because I won't use my pinky. I'll use my index finger. She's like, "Your index finger is humongous."
Okay,
I'm like, "Yeah, I have gigantic hands, right? So it's not my fault. Well, technically, but you know what I mean. It's just I can get more in there." Like, I'm like,
no, there was like a system here, like which the important finger to pick the nose.
Well, pinky is the thinnest, so it seems like it would go the farthest, but it's also the smallest finger.
The
middle finger's the longest, but it's the thickest. So you have like a.
Yeah, listen, I'm not out here picking my nose with a thumb, right?
I was actually about to say, what if you just use your thumb?
I don't think it can even fit up there. That's
that sounds so fun. You're just like, I've never tried that.
My one brother has very long nostrils, and I make fun of him because he looks like he can put his hand up like this and scratch his nose like this.
That's really comfortable.
All right, we should probably get off the booger talk. Let's just ask the
we've been on the booger topic for a while.
Which is, what was the first time you felt like a grown-up?
Getting caught.
Getting caught
picking your nose. I don't know. First time for like an adult, probably honestly ever since I realized that what my mom says isn't always God's law. I think that's kind of what I started realizing about adults, because I've been living with my mom. I've been living with my mom on and off. My granny's been around, but see, me and Granny have always been kind of on this, like, we're both on the same page. Masha, I know you're like 16, but you're probably an adult. Granny, I know you're my granny, and I love you, and I'll listen to you. So we always kind of had understanding. But see, maybe my mom had this like kind of opposite thing, where my mom's like, okay, what I say is law, and how you exist is that you're a kid. But then at some point, that kind of evened out to where it was just like, I do what I want, you do your thing, and we kind of just exist. I think at that point, I started realizing, I have my own decisions. I don't have to rely on what others say. I can make decisions. Me.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized when kind of the adult part started kicking in. But I think officially, I think now that I'm living on my own, I should feel more adult-like, but weird enough, I feel more like a kid now. Because I have to just have freedom. I just do what I want.
It's
I go
your
to work.
Clubhouse, right?
Yeah. You see this radio? It's just my clubhouse. But, so I just kind of do my own thing. I felt more like an adult when I was living under, like, my mom, because I had to like take care of my sister. I had to help with all the cleaning. I do that now, but I do it for myself, so it makes me feel less of an adult. I don't know why. I don't know how that works.
I think everybody has that moment of like when you're a kid, everything an adult says is gospel, and then there's that first moment where you're like, I think that's bullshit. Like,
yeah, you tell me about that fingernail thing. Yeah, that can't be true.
Yeah, talking out of your ass or whatever. There's that, and then like also the first time you kind of have to go mano a mano with your parents on something, whether that's confrontational or just kind of whatever. Like an example would be, I got in a tiff with my mom a couple weeks ago where she admonished me for not seeing her enough. Now, both my parents and Katie's parents all live in LA. So there's this expectation from my mom that I see her like once a week at the least almost. And I'm like, Mom, you have to understand that A, I have a life. B, I have to see you and Dad because you're divorced. And C, Katie's parents also live here. I'm basically doing that movie 4 Christmases all the goddamn time. So I can't do that. Like, you have friends, go do stuff.
Hey, that's never gonna stop. Just so you
Yeah, I was
not.
gonna say it's gonna
Because
be a thing.
I fought my father. My father was the kind of man. So he had his own business, and he would do this. He wake you up in the morning and go, doesn't matter what plans you have. He goes, hey, I need you in the yard. We have a 5-minute job. A 5-minute job is going to be 9 hours, of sun time, ripping up grass with your bare hands, stupidity. Okay, and you know what? He'd be like, no, we're almost done. So you're like, no, we're not. It's a whole day.
Let's
I
go
have
in and
plans.
out. 20-minute adventure. Like,
Yeah. So but that was the thing is, and then I just said, no, I'm not doing that. He goes, why? I go, listen, I have things to do. I'm an adult. I have things to do. And this happened when I got divorced. I moved back in with my folks. And I was like, no, I'm just like, where are you going? Out. With who? People. What people?
I'm an adult. Yeah.
I don't know. When will you be back? When I'm back. Goodbye. And my mom was like, well, what if something happens? Then I'll die. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm an adult now. That's just how that is.
Mhm.
You know.
And normally, when a parent it like understands that, they then don't bring it up every few months or however often it is. But my mom, I continually have to remind her of that fact. So
You should ask her why she hasn't called you. So what you do is you turn. Okay, this is how you deal with parents. Okay. The point of that story I told
I'm
was
taking this with several grains of salt. Just
No.
fair warning.
By the time, so I fought with my dad saying, listen, if you tell me on Monday, hey, I need you Saturday, I will clear my schedule
Yes.
and I will make time for you 100%. But if you call me Saturday, eat shit and die. Okay. It's that simple.
Yep.
Just not interested. Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then, but because I stood on that, like, granted, I'm the fifth of 5 children, right? The last of 5. My parents were exhausted. Like, they just didn't care. They're like, listen, you're on your own. Here's money. Good luck.
I like how you said fifth of the last of 5, like you're some kind of like genocided race, like the last of the 5.
Yes,
Instead of the youngest of 5.
I am the last hope for glory in my father's household, and I will not disappoint him.
Dude, I do that just with Katie, like around the house, where it'll be like, hey, do you want the last bagel?
Absolutely.
I should just give it away. I'd like, take it.
Yeah.
I'll starve today. It's cool. You can have it.
Shut up.
But that's the whole thing is, so when you don't hear from them, you're like, what you do is you treat them with the same responsibility that they want you to have, where you're always trying to make events with them, and you call them and be like, hey, you didn't call me, and you know what, I had a thing going on, I really could have used your advice, and I didn't think to call you. Why didn't you call me? And watch them go, I was busy. They're like, oh, you were busy with your friends? You were busy with your friends? You have time for your son? Really? And then watch them go. You go like,
here's the thing.
Now we're both adults and we're both dicks. Or we could be nice. How about that? You know?
I don't know. It's just kind of a part of like growing up and getting older, and sort of what this podcast is about a little bit.
Also true.
But yeah, traveling. We be traveling. You've gone to like regionals and stuff, right? How's that been?
It's been pretty fun. Just to give like a little bit of context, pretty much some card game stuff have opened up to enter. Essentially, pretty much like big events where you can win prizes.
Vanguard.
Prizes.
What
a couple other things.
Yeah.
So I went to Chicago a couple months back. That was pretty fun because that one was kind of an adventure, because I went in because it was like a team thing, so it's like you and 2 other people to enter this event, and the person I entered with, like the third person, was like a person I've never met in real life, so it's kind of a little spooky, but I just kind of went for it because I trusted my gut that things would go okay, and it did go pretty well. We ended up actually topping. Like, topping is when you get 8th or above, pretty much, out of the whole event. So we did end up going pretty far, both days actually. So it went pretty well, and that was fun. I've never been to Chicago actually, and I got a chance to try Chicago deep dish pizza. I never want to do that again.
It's
have
lasagna.
Really stomach.
It's fucking lasagna. Yeah.
We actually.
Lasagna.
I'm a pretty lucky person. We actually got 2 free pizzas. We got 2 pizzas for free and free dessert.
Oh, dude.
And so we got $80 just for free because they like screwed up our order, and then they screwed up our order again, and then they screwed up our order again. So just got the whole meal for free. And the two people I went with, because I told one of them like all the time. I tell him all the time like I'm a pretty lucky person. I get free stuff all the time, and he never really believed me. But then after that day, he was like, okay, maybe you're onto something. Because even at the so we were on our way to the airport, the airport, we were on our way to getting our bags checked, and there's like this huge line. It was like this, right? And literally right in front of me, there was like this kind of like this ropey thing. This one lady comes out of nowhere, unhooks it. She's like, "Hey, just go right here." And I'm like, "Yes." And my teammate's like, "Every time with you, every freaking time, it's always something. How do you get this lucky?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but we just skipped like 50 people. Let's go."
You're some sort of wizard. Interesting.
Yeah. But overall, it was pretty fun. Honestly, I was expecting the trip to be more like, because so the company that hosts the event, they were super anal about like your shots, your masks, all this stuff. So I was expecting it to be pretty like aggressive or feel kind of like a little uncomfortable, but actually it felt really normal, like even with the masks and everything, talking to everyone, like nothing felt weird. It was actually just, I think the excitement of seeing people again, like people within the community, people playing cards again in real life, like I think that was like so much higher than the fact that we're all wearing masks. There's COVID on the line, all this other stuff, and knowing that everyone's vaccinated, stuff like that kind of made it feel better. And there was like a good distance between all the seated people, so it didn't feel that weird. But it was just, I personally had a lot of fun, so that was a fun little travel. And then I traveled to Florida like in October as well, so I've been lucky kind of traveling here and there in general, so it hasn't been that weird to me. My boyfriend was kind of like not as, at first he was weird about it, and then he kind of just got over it. So he's a little bit more like on the to himself, like just in case.
Yeah, it's a great excuse to not hang out with people. Like it's very useful sometimes.
It is. Oh, sorry, I'm scared of COVID. I just thought maybe you have something I don't want.
That's completely fair. I went to Minnesota for the comedy festival, and I think because of the pandemic, where people are starting to fly again, like obviously the planes were open a while ago, but just the people getting comfortable with getting on a plane is starting to reach that point where flights are happening pretty often. People just forgot how to act. And an example would be on the flight from California to Minnesota. We got on the plane and the alarm goes off and it's like really, really loud. And it turns out that a woman tried to vape in the bathroom before the plane took off. Which is like, that's the one thing you don't do is smoke on the fucking plane.
You say woman, I need an age approximate, because
think like somewhere between like Caleb and my age. So like older Zoomer,
so
younger millennial.
Zero reason they should not have understood the assignment. Like there's
So
it's pretty wild.
They kicked her off the plane, and then I heard, because I was at my seat was like a couple rows from the back of the plane. I heard the flight attendants talking, and they go, "Yeah, so apparently this pilot, someone has tried to smoke on the plane 3 out of his last 4 flights. Vape on the plane.
Aren't you allowed to vape on a plane though?
No, you're not. No. 2 tried in the bathroom. This one was in the bathroom, and one of them was just in their seat with the fucking vape pen.
Damn.
And maybe they're like, well, it doesn't count, but if, as we all know from the commercial, that's metal in your lungs.
So, I flew to Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
When was this?
2008, 2009, around then. Okay.
Yeah.
And I went from here to Chicago to Hong Kong. And it was a total of about 22 hours that I was in an airport past customs.
Okay.
And at that time, I was still smoking. So I pretty much lost my mind for 22 hours. Yeah. But there was a guy who, coming back from Hong Kong, that there was like smoking rooms in the airport, which is beautiful. Like Hong Kong is very, very, they really take care of you. Also in Zurich, there's an airport. I think it's the Zurich airport. They have the nicest smoking room I've ever been. Like the best ventilation and everything is spotless. It's a beautiful place. Anyways, he had a vaping pen back then, and he was like, "Yeah, I just take it on the plane, no problem." Because I was in the smoking room, like smoking 2 cigarettes just before I got on the plane. I'm like, "Oh, come on, nicotine, get in me," Yeah. So, but yeah, he was on there. He was on there, and he could vape, and there was nobody had any issue whatsoever. But he was also in business class, so he had like electronics plugged in and shit. And I'm like, oh, I'm a peasant back in economy. There's no plugs here. You have what power you came with, or no power at all. And here's one TV for everyone.
Do they have like room to sleep, or is it just like a regular ass airplane for 22 hours?
Well, so it's the flight from Chicago to Hong Kong was 18 hours, I think.
Okay.
Is that right? 18 hours?
Sounds awful.
You know what? I just don't move. Like, so I'll put on like tension socks and stuff for my legs, and then I like sit in, buckle, and I just go like this and fall asleep, and I just don't move. Be like, "Do you want food?" I'm like, "Just don't bother me. Just leave me alone."
I don't have that luxury anymore. I don't get to sleep on planes because of my seizure condition. I don't want him to freak the fuck out. I got the bracelet and everything, but it's not. I'm
feel
just
like
so
you should
afraid.
lean into it, my friend, and just be like, "Hey, we're all gonna have fun this trip."
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. So on the flight back, I found something I hate more than a crying baby on the plane, and that's 2 tech bros in the row in front of you on the plane talking about fucking NFTs for 3.5 hours.
That's Atlas's favorite subject.
Oh yeah.
I've always said on this show, Orange, that I think if we got tech bros into trading card games, the whole like crypto shit would disappear overnight.
Maybe.
Nice.
It's that nice same kind of like to the moon bullshit, and except the things do stuff. Like the card does a thing.
Still.
That's it. Anyway, so I just got to hear him talk about it for 3.5 hours, and like I tried reading. At one point, my nuclear option was trying to go to sleep. It was in my dreams. I couldn't. So
was OuterOrange in there too?
No.
NFTs, OuterOrange.
No sleep paralysis demon there because I couldn't fall asleep because of the fucking dudes. They were so loud.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man, you had a way harder experience than I did. I just, got on a plane, got off the plane.
Yeah. The plane on the way to the thing wasn't like delayed or anything. It was just the lady got kicked off and we continued as normal. But it was just funny that happened.
Why would she do that before takeoff? She did that? Like,
yeah, like people were, putting the bags in the overhead bin, sitting down, that kind of thing. Texting people, I'll text you when I get off the plane, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she just goes in the bathroom and decides, I'm going to put some metal in my lungs and just do that shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, some people pick their noses, some people vape, it's just a normal part of society. Sorry, bring that subject.
I bet pilots pick their nose. They have to seal those doors now post 9/11. I bet they're just like fucking getting up there.
Going right in.
Knuckle deep into their own faces.
They're probably taking the whole hand like you were saying earlier.
Yes. Oh, I got a good one.
They're passing planes in the sky. They just look at each other, finger up their nose.
Like, I got caught. Oh,
come on, Charlie. It's the 10th time this day. How many planes have we flown today? 12.
Turns into that episode of Seinfeld where the girl thinks he's picking his nose, and then
exactly.
Yeah.
I think one thing we can all agree is out of all these horrible people on planes, we can. We know that the worst is people who take off their shoes and socks in an airplane. They're the worst.
You can take off your shoes. Don't take off your socks, man. Come on.
I have like a feet phobia. I would actually probably ask someone to come over and tell someone to put their socks back on. I would have like a big fear of feet.
A feet phobia. So you're the opposite of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. Hello.
OuterOrange. Like the anti Quentin Tarantino. You could probably market that. I think where you're just like,
Probably.
I will never put a feet shot in my movies.
I absolutely hate feet. I would need to get paid to actually I would need to pay a lot of money for someone to tell me to stick a foot in a footage. Like even editing that sounds like an actual nightmare. It's a thing, there's feet wikis and all this stuff, like especially for like content creators. Like it's definitely normal. I don't think I have yet to have a video or a photo of me, at least since I started creating content, that has my feet in it, and I like to keep it that way. But
Fair.
maybe if people give me enough money, I don't know. It will take a lot. I have such a thing about feet. I actually dated a guy who had a foot fetish, and oh my goodness, when he found out I had a foot phobia, like literally one of the first topics we had after 2 weeks of dating, he was like, "If I knew you were this scared of feet, I don't think I would have asked you out." And I'm like, "Damn!" Like I legit, I lose it if I see feet.
So was that the moment where you both just like, you know what? This was nice. Have a good day.
No, we dated for 3 years.
Oh my god. That would have been a deal breaker, I think. If you're afraid of the thing they have a fetish for.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of tried to figure it out along the way, but at the end of the day, I just couldn't do it. It just wasn't for me. But yeah, I just, and you know what started it? I don't know if you guys know Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's like this show about just these horrific things that happen to the owners of this little dog. So there's like this little dog, and the reason why he's called Courage is because he always has the courage to try and save whatever happens to the two owners that take care of him, essentially. And one of the episodes is like this: one of the owners just turns into this foot, this disgusting purple, pickly, pimply looking foot. It's like the size of the house practically, and all the nails are rotten. And I'm a kid, by the way. I'm like 5-6 years old, looking at this foot.
Yeah, I wonder where it came from. Yeah.
And I looked at it, and I'm like, you know what? I just came to this realization as a 5-year-old. I was like, feet are really weirdly shaped things. Nails looked weird on it. On fingers, it looks fine. On toes, it looks weird. I just don't think I like feet. I actually think I'm kind of scared of them. Actually, I'd prefer if a foot would never come near me ever again. That would be a good thing. And ever since then, I've just never really had a thing for feet, and never will. They look weird. And I know you can't really make them look normal. Every human has them, but I just never looked down. I'll trip. I don't care. I just never looked down.
It was at that moment she realized that her taekwondo career was over.
Yeah, no time, dude. I can't do that. I always have my socks on. I used to do like a lot of like yoga and stuff like that. I always have my socks on. I
respect you for that.
My sister and I were barefoot all the goddamn time as kids.
So dirty feet people.
They are. I got calluses on my feet even now.
I don't need to hear this.
Okay. Sorry.
I don't need to hear this. I don't want to.
Okay. Why don't we do our new thing that we do to close out episodes, and then we'll do our pluggables and the last question for Orange. Okay. So we're starting to do this thing where we pull up a relationship advice thing that we have no business answering.
I have a thing for it. So do you want to do the most memorable set first?
No, let's do that at the end after the pluggables.
Okay, so hold on. First, okay, let's do this. Because what we'll do, we just do the normal show, and then we do it. So sorry, everyone who's listening, we're still figuring this out. Yeah. Was essentially before we move on to, we have a final question, then we have a separate portion which you're going to hear in the audio, but it's going to be separated for our YouTube viewers. So I guess to start, we have a message from Caleb. Caleb is at Disney World because, well, he explains it the best. Here you go.
Oh, God.
Yo, what's up, Generation Dan? It's your Zoomer boy at Caleb C. McDuff on Twitter. Listen, I'm at Disney right now because my dad abandoned me as a child and I didn't get to do it until I turned 23, but it's all good. I've seen Mickey Mouse in at least like 4 different outfits at this point. Every single time he pointed at me and laughed at how humiliatingly old I am, but it's okay. It's all good. They got plenty of scooter chairs for Dino if he wants to come by here. Harry Potter World's on Tuesday for me, though, so unfortunately, Atlas, you're going to have to wait for that one. Listen, I miss you boys. Shout out to the Generation Dan podcast, and I'm definitely getting COVID before I leave here.
He doesn't even have a mask on.
I'm from Southern California. I went to UC Riverside. The Disney adult is fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
It's it's a real thing. Katie's family are real into Disney. I went with them last year, and the whole time they were making fun of me because they're like, "I bet you think you're too good for this." I'm like, no,
I'm not gonna lie, I'd be one of those people.
Making fun of me for
Yes,
not.
because I'd be like, "Oh, here's Atlas, Mister. Oh, it's just Disney. Oh, it's for the 16-year-olds and lower." I'd be making fun of you.
I didn't even make fun of it. I just said I'm just a Disney fan. That's all I said.
That's that number one best impression I've ever seen of Atlas, hands down. Hands down, that was up there with this kind of impression of Atlas. It's comparable.
I think my friend Alan does the best impression of me. I'll have to bring him on as a guest at some point. But like,
why not?
Yeah.
But also too, you would definitely be somebody that it's just what's the big deal? And then you get to Harry Potter and you lose your mind, and you're like, draw a scar on my head. I want to be cool like everybody else.
I just want to see what my wand would be like. That's all I want to know, man.
I want the name on it. I want the special wood carving, and I want to go on the Harry Potter ride again. And where's my butterbeer? Where'd it go?
Yeah.
Where'd it go? I actually went to Disneyland. Went to in October. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's cool. I went on that new Star Wars ride, which is really fucking cool. Where it's like a roller coaster without the rails, so you don't even know where you're going. You know, you can't just turn's coming. I'm going over to the top. Just getting jerked around. And Orange, where can they find you and follow you and all that stuff?
Killing me.
You can find me on Twitter for @OuterOrange, or you can find me on YouTube, which is also @OuterOrange. I have an Instagram for no apparent reason. I have Facebook for no apparent reason. You can find me on all that, and on Twitch. I stream pretty much every week, so you can find me on there. I do stupid stuff. I say stupid stuff. I play card games. I don't know. I exist like this with this face, so yeah, you can see me there.
Cool. Find us at Generation Dan on Twitter or Generation_Dan on Instagram. Yeah.
We've been posting clips everywhere. It's been very enjoyable.
I do see the clips. I am following.
That's good.
We appreciate that. Yeah, we
appreciate it.
I think we're up to 51 subscribers on the YouTube channel, and not to brag, we've made like $9 on the audio, so it's like we're kind of humongous.
Oh my gosh. You're almost at double digits.
Yeah.
You're like,
you know what? For me, I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I think it's so great. And people are like, you're an idiot. I'm like, I know, but really, it's not. Like, that's real money.
That's how I feel on YouTube. It's cool. I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's my $15 a month. It's fine. Some people get it an hour, but I get it a month. Okay.
I feel like that's reasonable.
It's about the same for Nexus at Night because we have a Patreon, and I split that 3 ways with Matt and Root Beer.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it's about 15 a person. Anyway,
that's not bad.
Yeah, at Atlas Novak, Twitter, Instagram, or follow my other podcast at Nexus at Night, also on Twitter, Instagram. That's about a trading card game, the same one OuterOrange plays. It's called Vanguard. And then if you're on my personal YouTube channel, just Atlas Novak, I'm just posting my stand-up clips there. So check it out.
And if you want to follow me, it's right here. Just Google this. The genetic marvel. If you can't even Google that, I don't want you. Don't follow me. Just don't. I'm putting in a top tier effort. Okay, as fat as I look, there's a lot of effort. If you're not even going to Google my name, unacceptable. Okay, you got to meet me just like a little bit of the way. Anyways, okay. So then, shall we go into our final question, and then we'll go into the relationship advice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So normally we have a lot of comedians on the show, but what's the most memorable thing that's happened to you while creating content? So recording a video at a regional, whatever.
Anything.
Most memorable? Does it have to be like a funny thing?
Good, bad, weird. Otherwise, doesn't matter.
I mean, recently the only thing that comes to mind is so when I went to Georgia, like we had like an event here that's a regionals one. It was my first event, kind of like with a lot of people there, and I've been online this whole time, like y'all have been online, stuff like that. So when I went there, there were so many people, like it was kind of like almost like a culture shock to me, like in a weird way. Like a lot of people walked up to me, and by the way, I was kind of dressed like this, like that was normal, right? Just having my cards, playtesting. And some people walked up to me, "Can I have a picture with you? Can I have this? Can I have that?" And someone actually asked for an autograph, and someone actually gave me an entire life story about why they're just happy that I just exist and that they literally started playing the game because of like just my content. And this happened the whole day, by the way, and it was just really, I've never been around this type of situation yet. It was kind of like a first thing for me, so I was just like, whoa. Well, first of all, people recognize me. Second off, I signed something, and then someone gave me an entire story about my existence and how cool it is, and how every video I upload makes them happy and makes them keep going on with whatever they're doing. And that was like a big like shock to me, but also it made me I literally cried that day. I went home like after the first event, and I was crying. I was just sobbing. And a lot of it has to do with I recently revealed a card for like the company that does the card game, and I think a lot of that kind of momentum kind of came through, and even that like just was like a big shock to me. So just going through these weird motions of like my fans talking to me in person is just like probably the most memorable thing that's happened this year so far. And I keep going back to it because I'm like, man, like I just don't see it like that, but the fact that other people do is like, damn, like it's kind of a tearjerker. but that's pretty much, that's all I got.
All right,
That's pretty fair.
that is
Makes sense to me.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you want to add your own answer to the question, or just want to leave a comment, leave a like, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next week.
See ya.